Good morning, general biology students. I wanted to go over with you as we dig into Module 4 how to set up a respirometer. So as you go through the first experiment, Experiment 1, which is fermentation by yeast, fermentation tells you that it is an anaerobic respiration process. And so as you do this, step 6 of the instructions is basically just a way for you to practice the setup. So you're going to have your smaller plastic test tube and your larger glass test tube. So fill your blue tube all the way to the top so that it's flush with water. You may even get the little meniscus, the bubble at the top of water as a result of surface tension. And then you're going to take your glass tube and invert it over top of your blue tube. And then taking your finger, gently push the blue tube so that it is flush with the end of the glass tube. And then in one fluid, small motion, invert the blue tube. Now you may or may not get a gas bubble at the top of your blue tube to start. If you don't have a bubble, that's perfectly fine. Actually, that's the best setup. If you do have a bubble, that's fine too, but you're just going to want to make sure that you record your initial gas bubble height. So if you don't have any gas in your initial setup, then your initial gas bubble height would just be 0. If you do have a bubble, you're going to take out your ruler that's been provided in your lab kit, using, of course, the metric side of the ruler because we are scientists and scientists use the metric system, right? And then using a very precise measurement, it looks like my gas bubble height here is about 9 millimeters. So I'll record that on my table as my initial gas bubble height for this particular trial. You're going to have different initial gas bubble heights for each of the respirometers that you set up. Now, if this were containing my solutions, I would place it into my test tube rack and allow for the chemical reaction to take place. And then at the end of the chemical reaction, measure the final gas bubble height, which in some of your tubes will be more and in some of your tubes might be exactly the same. Just depends on what's in your blue tube and what would you expect for that chemical reaction to do. So you're going to measure those and record them on your table. And the second part of the experiment for this week, Experiment 2, is aerobic respiration in beans. And keep in mind that this requires at least a 24-hour period of observation. So you don't want to save this till the end of the week. I would suggest at least starting your setup by Thursday so that you can make observations throughout the day, Friday and Saturday, and just in case things don't go well and you need to do a repeat, it gives you a little bit of wiggle room in there. So definitely this week you do not want to wait until Sunday to begin at least that Experiment 2. As always, if you have any questions as you go through the lab exercise, you can reach out to me on the General Questions Discussion Board forum, or you can email me directly, but hopefully you'll have some fun mixing. I suggest doing the lab in your kitchen space because it does get a little bit messy. There's a little bit of spillage that might happen, working in a clean environment, of course, so that we don't contaminate our tubes, and have fun.